Good evening, everyone. Glad to see you. Great crowd tonight. Great crowd. I'm going to stay between the blue lines that are no longer here, and tonight they have me mic'd up because the audio wasn't getting to the feed going out to whomever might be watching. So
Don't talk loud enough like me.
you're fine. In fact, no, we'll leave that alone. Glad to have everyone out, and before we get started, let's have our introductions. I'm David Schoaf, KC4, don't touch the microphone, KC4X,
I'm Caroline, KM4BCO.
a new general, by the way. All right, Brian, carry on.
I'm Brian, N4UEZ.
Terry, AK4D.
Jim, KB4SJ.
Ed, AF4XC.
Ed, KE4DFT.
Ken, KM4NFU.
Kathy, KM4OCS.
Paul, N4VOA.
Steve, WA3. Dave, KM4RAB.
You're what? You're what?
Brett, Jason, KM4SIX.
Jeff, KK4MOD.
Gary, WA4BOC. Mike, W4LKN.
Bill, WD4OTY. Scott, KD0PTQ. I'll go then. Terry, KC8OX.
David, WD4BYA.
Ron, KN4WPN. Dan, KC4WSK.
Carol, M4ATR.
Gene, WB4MSG.
John, K1PPE.
David, W4OIF.
I'm Tim, I'm working on it.
Attaboy, Tim.
Sam, I4TV.
Michael, K4OLD.
Stacy, W1LLF.
Stephen, KG4JWU.
Mary, KM4WPO.
Jim, KJ4FIN.
Ron, W4UBB. Matt, KB1BSR.
Henry, W4HHS.
Harlan, W1HRC.
Bob, W3ABD.
W4SDH.
Excellent. All righty, miss anybody?
Yeah, Henry.
And Don.
Yeah, Henry and Don are in the back. They're running the whatever back there. Our treasurer,
You're outside the blue line.
thank you.
Good idea.
Our treasurer has a Monday night job, so he's not able to be here, but he tells us that we have in the bank $3,686.56. We have just a couple of our normal bills. We good? To pay this month, so that's pretty good balance to have for us. Our reservation for field day, we're still working on that for next year at Hobby Park. Many of you turned out for field day. That worked out really well. We still haven't heard how we scored, other than we know how we scored here, but we don't know how we scored against the other groups. And so the new reservation won't be locked until November. I'm just going over some things that I've written down here. For just a minute, I think I'll go ahead and turn things over to Harlan and let him bring us up to speed on EOC and other issues, and I'll walk around the chair.
I'll be on the other side of the blue line.
All right, here you go, Mike.
Okay. Well, we'll try to hold this up instead of wearing it. Hopefully they can hear it. We just had an activity on Friday. Jim Mansfield and myself attended. It was the first EOC operation in the new EOC, which is at the Sheriff's Department. They activated the incident management team, which we are a part of, for the Guns N' Roses show that occurred at Wake Forest. It was actually a pretty good event that occurred for us. We got to see where we're going to be in the new EOC, which is actually rather nice. I have pictures, which if anybody wants to see them after the meeting, but we actually have our own separate room. It's about 12 by 12. We can isolate ourselves if we need to. We'll have our communications antenna cables there for us. Everything will be ready, and it's just us in there. So it makes it very nice. And we're right off the main part of the EOC, so we can interface very easily with the senior staff as necessary. One thing that came up as we were talking with the remainder of the IMT, which are primarily fire, rescue, and police, and talking with them, a question was given to me: how quickly could we put an amateur radio operator at a fire station? My response was, I think pretty quickly.
Probably one that lives by everyone in town.
Probably got one living pretty close. The reason that they asked is simple. The 911 system has vulnerabilities, which have been coming up more frequently recently. And their thought was, if we can get an amateur operator at our fire station when the 800 system is not malfunctioning or not working, we then would become their dispatch point. So that increases our chances of having opportunities to serve the community in the county. So want to keep that in our minds. That's kind of a neat thing, and that would require an partial EOC activation for us. So that would be a good opportunity for us.
2 minutes.
Too many?
2 minutes.
Yeah, 2 minutes. I know. I can be at either of my fire stations in just a couple of seconds. Doesn't take anything at all. Anyway, Tour de Tanglewood's coming up in September. I think we've got most of the slots covered, but if anybody that has not volunteered wants to volunteer, please see me at the end of the meeting. Those that are here that have volunteered, I ask you to stay for an additional 5 or 10 minutes max. I just want to walk through the assignments, make sure I've got everybody, make sure we've got what we need covered. The ICS classes, 100, 200, 700, and 800 that we scheduled in November, that may change. Still sign up if you need the courses, but that may change. We may actually move that into January. But I've got a discussion I've got to talk with them tomorrow about for Friday. If we can move Friday to a 5:30 to 9 p.m. instead of an all-day event, we may not have to move it. So that's a discussion we're going to have tomorrow. Okay? Any questions? Again, yes.
Would you just do a quick update on that House Bill 364 that is kind of referenced?
Yes.
At the bottom of the homepage?
Yes. The Brian Garlick Act. That's the State House and or Senate Bill 364. That is the bill that would restrict us from using our microphones in our vehicles in the state of North Carolina while we're driving. If you have not already done so, please send your state senator, that's the state, a letter. Email them saying that this is very critical that we be excluded, that we perform multiple functions for our communities, including what we just talked about from the area standpoint, that if this law goes into effect, we would not be able to operate. Most states that have the similar law have either from the beginning excluded amateur radio, like the state of Washington did, or they've had to go back after they enacted the bill and put a rider on and exclude amateur radio. We want to make it happen from the beginning. Okay? The Amateur Parity Act, you want to talk about that one real quick too? Okay, if you haven't done so, please send to our U.S. senators a letter concerning the Amateur Parity Act, Amateur Radio Parity Act. That is, I think it's Senate Bill, 1534. What that bill does is it basically states that as an amateur radio operator, you have the right in an HOA or otherwise land restricted or deed restricted zone to erect an effective external antenna for two-way communications. What your HOA has is the right to ask you to do it within an aesthetic manner, but they cannot flatly refuse you. You would have the right to put that antenna out. Okay, any questions on either of those bills? please do it. We need that push so that they can both get passed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Harlan. Before we go any farther, I need a rope, just tie it off over there somewhere. It's gonna take a while. Website updates, Terry? It's my seat.
I saved you one.
Okay, this side of the chair. Okay, a few months ago, the board of directors wanted to do an update. Yeah. This is klutzy. Okay, a few months ago, the board of directors wanted an update done to the website for the club. And I volunteered to do it, thought it'd be a little bit of fun, so here's the results. And I kind of primed you to give an update on all these bills because it makes it easier. That I'm going to show you some quick links on how you can accomplish contacting state senators and also your U.S. senators. But first, who has looked at the website? Most of you? Okay. Anyway, I want to thank Jim Register. He was the guy who set up the new hosting service for the website while I did the code, so it all kind of came together at one time, so it's working pretty well. And what Harlan was talking about, you go up here, drag this down a little bit. If you go over here to the legislative info part, to contact the state senators, to the state senator on the state senator version of the bill, you can click right there, and that will bring up a sample letter. You can copy it and send that to your state senator. Okay, come back over here.
I believe all of them have an email address too, so.
Yeah, and then likewise, for the House Bill 831, you can click on that too. And I've got also in Microsoft Word format for each of those, the same verbiage, but it just comes up in Word format, kind of making it easy to where you can put in your name, address, et cetera, contact info, and everything else is pretty much hard-coded. Yeah, well, yeah, you can change it. It's just a suggested letter. And Harlan and I kind of worked on it together, so. And then on the Amateur Radio Parity Act, there's some info on it there. And if you want to quickly contact your senator via email, come down here to the bottom. And this is up at the ARRL. We'll get there in just a moment. And notice this comes up in a separate tab from the website, which remains there. You enter your zip code, and then it will come up with your 2 state senators, and then you can email them. Easy. And I've already done that, and I got back a response from Tom Tillis in about 10 days, saying thank you for your input. I'll definitely consider this.
Burr didn't send you that one.
What's that?
You didn't get one from Burr, did you?
Not yet.
No, I didn't either.
Not yet.
We do remember that we had our representative meet with these folks last year and talk about the bill. And that was Mason.
Yeah, Mason did a great job. Again, thank you, Mason. And of course, on the House side, that's already passed the House side. We just need to get the Senate side to pass the bill. And then when both House and Senate pass the bill, then it can go to the President's desk for signing. That's the process. Pretty simple. But it can be pretty complex too. Okay, and a couple of other links on here. And by the way, anytime,
Terry,
yeah.
just to let you know, it might sound a little old-fashioned, but letters actually work better than email.
They do. I agree with that, 100%. Okay. Anytime you're in any of these links and you want to go back to the main page, just go up here to the top, click there, and you're back to the main page. Anyway, there's always info on this main page that you go to, www.w4nc.com, all the meeting info, talking about Al Mason is going to talk in just about 2 or 3 minutes, and also a quick link to the latest newsletter right there in PDF format. Or you can go over here, scroll up a little bit, go over to the club newsletters link, and there's all the newsletters online going back to 2011. Down here, I've not implemented these yet from 2002 to 2010, but they'll all load pretty doggone quick. And if you like contesting, go over here to some other links, and this is on every page that you go to. I kind of like this one. Don't know if anyone else has a favorite they like to go to for a radio contest, but this is a good one. That has an 8-day calendar, 12-month calendar, perpetual calendar, state QSO parties, etc., etc. And you can click on that for the 8-day. And there's all the contests over the next few days that you can get involved with if you like to do contesting and so on. Kind of a lot of fun. Let's see, what am I missing here?
Can I get you real quick to click
Sure.
on local emergency management tab down there?
Sure.
See where it says Rated Foresight and local emergency
Mhm.
management? Those are two websites maintained by Forsyth County Emergency Management. If you go to their websites, they link back to our club site. They also now on the City of Winston-Salem's webpage under emergency management, they have a link to us as well. So everything's linked together now on our web pages.
Yes.
We just made that happen last week.
And again, all these extra links will pop up in a separate tab, so you can go right back to the main club. And one thing, go over here to the Aries tab. All the efforts that Harlan is involved with Aries, there's the schedule of events that he is planning. Of course, number 3 here, that date may be changed. And I will be changing the email address for him that's located right there. So you can, it'll be aries@w4nc.com.
That's the
One question, Harlan, how well does EHS
very well. We are considered a critical part of EFS2, or Secondary Communications Group.
so they
we
actually cooperate?
Yes.
And for Dale, on VEC testing, there's just a little bit of info on VEC testing, and then all the stuff that you need to bring to the exam session. So if you know somebody who's kind of gearing up for one of Dale's VEC sessions, right there's just a precise listing of all the stuff they may need to bring. And anybody have any questions? I mean, there's a lot of different tabs on there, a lot of info, so if you haven't explored it, explore it, please. And it's still under development. I'm going to be adding some stuff about past club events, maybe some photos, et cetera, so we want to have a little bit of fun with it. Mm-hmm.
This side of the chair.
There you go, I'll let you take that off.
And we're going to get, I'm not going in your pocket. We're going to get better at this. I apologize for all this, but,
You guys are moving faster on the website.
okay, very good. And we have 2 viewers on the website. One of them is Don back there, and you're the other one. Anyway, listen, guys, you never know when you're at home sick and you want to attend a meeting. Right there it is. Just go to the website.
I've already disconnected.
Oh, that's his.
I was He's got his own lap.
Oh, he's got his own laptop. I thought you were going to use the same one. Okay. Well, let's take care of a couple of things in the business end of it. Our business meeting normally is the third Monday, but because of the eclipse, I guess you all know about the eclipse next week? Yeah. That's happening, and several people will be gone. I'll be gone for one of them. And so we've moved it to Tuesday night. And we also have an issue of where we're going to have it. For the foreseeable future, which is next Tuesday night, we're going to be at 66 Pizza. We start arriving about 6:30. The food's good. They got a salad bar as long as this table, and it's got everything on it. And we always eat, we talk to each other, then we have our meeting, and after the meeting, we always talk to each other. It goes on till we get ready to leave. It's usually about 3 hours, 9:30. I've been looking at 10 o'clock. So that's next Tuesday night, beginning at 6:30. Official meeting begins about 7:30. Our tech group meeting with Steve and the guys is happening tomorrow night. That's over here at the Miller Park Recreation Center. And we talk about technical things. If you'd like to go on the list, see Steve and give him your email address, and he'll put you on the list. And he comes up with a little agenda, things that we could talk about. We can always talk about whatever you want to talk about. But we're trying to remain current on new technology, energy technology. If it's technical, we want to talk about it. So we enjoy it, and we do a couple of kits that we're working on as well. Next month, I want you guys to all be thinking, how can we improve this club? The officers in this club are here to serve every one of you, to try to keep our hobby going, to make it better, and suggestions from you, and we've already had some good suggestions. Grab one of us. All of our email addresses were on the website that was up here a minute ago. Just look for them. You can't cut and paste them, which is a very good thing.
I just wanted to make a statement about the business meeting.
Yes.
Yes, the board of directors, the main board is there. But any of us who are members of this club can show up, put your input, and your vote counts.
Yes, it's just all of us, you know. It's just about like this. We could all show up just like this. We'd all eat and we'd have a meeting. Just basically what we're doing here tonight. But we do try to conduct some business. Mason, you want to come on up and hook up? You're getting close. Yeah, here it is about the radio club. There you go. Yeah, it won't take but a second. So listen, our email addresses are there. Talk to us. Let us know what's in your mind, what you'd like to do. And we've already got some suggestions that we're going to be working on. So next month, you have questions that you'd like to ask about technical things, where the club's going, whatever, talk to us. I was going to put my phone number up here, but I can't do it with this thing in the way. We need Elmers as well. Don't do that. We need Elmers. We need guys that can help other people get on the air for whatever reason. Design antennas, put up antennas. I'm going to be available. Now, you're not going to get the best technical help there is, because some of us clearly know a lot more than the rest of us. But I'm willing to help. And you know, being able to do something, about half of it is knowing where to go to get answers. And I may not be able to answer your question, but we'll scratch around till we get you an answer. So 399-7194 for those of you who want to write it down.
And they can take my number.
And Mr. Kippy, and we've got lots of guys that are willing to help. We're going to collect phone numbers and make them available. Let's see. Any questions? In just a minute, Mason is going to talk to us. We all good? He's going to talk to us about his de-expedition in Iceland. And I'm going to mic him up. Sir. Oh, Harold. Harold wanted the floor for a minute, and I almost forgot it. Thank you. Stand up, Harold.
I don't need the microphone. Next month, I'm going to do the program, and it's going to be on, we're going to make antennas, the little 2-meter, 3-element beam,
Just like they do on WXI. Same thing.
I feel official now.
Yeah.
just screwdrivers. I got enough stuff for 30. It looks like I better count on 40 antennas.
Okay, without further ado, Mason has the floor.
Okay, let's see. I think we're good here. There we
Are your knees knocking?
What?
Are your knees knocking?
No, I'm good. All right. So as everybody probably knows, my name is Mason, KM4SII, and today I'm going to be presenting on my de-expedition to Iceland that I did earlier this year in March as TF/KM4SII. And we had all sorts of adventures, as you can probably guess from the title, so we're going to go ahead and get into that if I can figure out how this thing works. Okay, so first of all, how did this all come? How did all this come about? And why choose Iceland in the middle of wintertime? Seemed like a crazy idea, but the idea started when my grandmother offered to take us on a tour to Iceland, and she lives in Alabama, and it was with a tour group from her church that she's been on a couple tours with before. Mom never agrees to anything that I like, that I ask her about, so I just jokingly asked her if we could go, and surprisingly she said she would consider it, which was really surprising for me. And a few days later she said, okay, yeah, let's see if we can get our slot booked. But evidently that tour was very popular, and there was only 2 spots left, and it was going to be my mom, me, and my grandmother, so we couldn't all go, so we didn't think we were going to be able to go because we wanted everyone to be able to go on the trip. But somebody canceled, or multiple people, I'm not sure how many, so we were actually able to get our spot. So then after I knew we were going, that got me thinking, well, me being me, I'm going to have to combine this with radio somehow. But at the time I had just barely gotten my HF station up for a couple weeks, I think. I didn't have my own radio, I was still using Harlan's borrowed TS430. So I had to figure out how I was going to do all this. But first I had to figure out if I could even operate in Iceland, since I was just a general then, and I still am now. Hopefully that'll be changing soon. Most countries require that you have an advanced class or an extra class license to operate in. But in the European countries, there are some countries which are listed here that have ratified ECC Recommendation 0506, which gives reduced privileges to general class operators to operate in the countries that have ratified it. And as you can see in the bold here, Iceland is one of the countries that allows it. So I knew I was good to go, but I wasn't sure what those reduced privileges were. I figured I would be lucky just to get 1 or 2 bands and just a small part of it. Evidently, finding information on ham radio in Europe on anything is near impossible online. I don't know why. You can find anything you want about the US, but